It's number 9!
Are we inside?
We should have saved inside number 9 for number 9. Anyway, it's the 9th Co-Pilots podcast with me and him, and it's Marvel vs. DC week.
Again.
Which is what our first podcast descended into every week.
Yeah. And
I'm just looking, we haven't done DC and Marvel together yet, have we? Any particular show? Oh, we've had a Marvel.
we
Marvels.
have had a Marvel vs DC as well.
Oh, we have. We did Supergirl and Jessica Jones, didn't we? So, okay, round 2.
Yeah. These ones match up better than just, like, the lead character's a girl.
Which one do you want to start with?
We could go for Legends of Tomorrow.
Let's do it. So, you know more about the Arrowverse than I do. A lot more. So
I realised that as soon as I put it, like, we were like, yep, that's set, we'll do it. I was just like, wait, there's a lot of, like, it's not 100%, I don't see this as 100% a pilot, because all of these characters exist in the Arrowverse and Flashverse.
Have they all appeared?
All but Rip. Every single one of these characters has appeared. They're mostly Flash characters, though.
Yeah, I kind of got the feeling from that Brandon Routh's character. He's from Flash, right?
Arrow.
Oh, okay, never mind.
So, Ray Palmer, Sarah Lance are Arrow. Firestorm, Heatwave, Captain Cold, Hawkgirl and Hawkman are all Flash. All of them are Flash.
Okay.
And Rip hasn't appeared in anything apart from Doctor Who.
Which this basically. Anyway, go on. What's it about then?
Well, Rip works for the Time Masters. I very nearly said Time Lords, and I was just like, wait, that's not right. And
it's basically right, though.
Yeah, in what is it? The year 21 something.
2166.
Vandal Savage, who also has been in The Flash and Arrow.
Okay. By the way, that is an amazing name for a villain.
Yep. It's very... I think at some point later in the series... Oh no, I'm thinking of... Don't worry, I was thinking of something they said in Arrow.
I have a feeling this is going to happen a lot.
It's a very, like, on-the-nose name.
Oh, okay.
But we're talking about a completely different character. So he's conquered the world and sort of killed Rip's family.
Yes, that's the first thing. Well, you don't know, but that's the first thing you see, isn't it? Is the mother and child getting killed.
Yeah, and then I think it's revealed at the end of the episode that it's his family, and he's
you now don't need to worry about because we've just told you.
Yeah, but he's not overly keen on that version of the future.
I can't imagine why.
So he's gone back in time to assemble a group of I'd say heroes, but just people. He's just gone, alright, you'll do. Because he can't take, like, the heroes who would actually help a lot. Because he could have just gone back and gone, Mr. Queen, Barry Allen, do you guys want to, like, I don't know, fix history? And then I'll just drop you off at this time. And it'll be like you were never gone, but we've saved the world. Instead, he takes some heroes, some not heroes, and just goes, alright, we're going to go on an adventure through time and space.
Yes. Well, oh, hang on. That sounds familiar and derivative. To be fair, I'm going to say this right from the top because Doctor Who is going to come up a lot when we're talking about this, I feel. I really don't mind how much it sort of is clearly influenced by Doctor Who.
If I'm honest, it was part of what sold me. Because I remember when I first saw the trailer, I tweeted about it, just saying like, oh, it's good to know what Rory's been doing now.
Yeah.
Just because it's so, like, the premise is quite similar. Obviously, like, Rip Hunter is a character in the comic books, so he's, well, yeah, the character's exactly what he is in the comic books, sort of. But yeah, no, I quite like the idea. And the thing that they're not trying to say, all they're doing is they're going back to kill one, basically Hitler, but immortal.
Yes.
But the thing I quite like about it is it's not introducing new characters. So it's taking characters that I already know and taking them on an adventure, rather than what a lot of like the shows that these characters come from. They have to spend a lot of time building these characters.
And I imagine that's, you know, it's always a lot easier to invest, you know, a lot of time into something you're slightly familiar with, or in your case really familiar with, than something that's completely new. So we're coming at this from very different angles, because I've watched, I think, 3 episodes of Arrow and 1 of The Flash. So
as far as you're concerned, Sarah Lance is dead.
Yeah? Who's Sarah Lance?
She's White Canary and was on the boat with Oliver when it sank.
Right. Okay. Yeah. She was kind of annoying. I didn't really like her that much.
Yeah. She's one of... I always find her to be one of the more interesting characters. Purely because, like, she was on Ollie's yacht when it sunk. Then went and trained with the assassins. And then came back. And then was killed. And then was resurrected. So yeah, it's pretty... And she was also exorcised by Constantine as well.
Bloody hell, she gets around a bit.
She's had a hell of a life. Or several lives, actually.
So, as a superhero team-up piece, what do you think of it then? So, coming at it as your... You know, this is essentially the TV version of DC's Avengers, if you see where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
So having invested a lot of time with these characters, how do you think they did? Was it successful?
I mean, I liked it. So from that point of view, it's quite good. But I feel like this isn't something you could, like, in your situation, I don't think you'll enjoy it or have enjoyed it as much as I have, because I already know the characters.
Yeah, okay.
So I feel like that makes it a lot more difficult, and throughout the series there'll be so many references to things, because the whole setup for this show was explained in a crossover for Arrow and Flash. So that crossover introduces Savage, Hawkman, Hawkgirl, gives you a sort of their like brief history, and then this just kind of happens, and it's like, oh. So I think, like, for you, this would be quite not a difficult,
inaccessible.
Like the concept's there, but like the characters might be.
Okay, yeah. I think what you've managed to do is completely collate all the thoughts in my head I was having, and give me a reason as to why my complaints aren't necessarily founded. Because I was thinking, coming at this. You know, I know there's a whole plethora of shows where all these guys have appeared and, you know, worked with or against each other, whatever. But the most sort of introduction you get, and it wasn't really a problem, because I quite enjoyed how quickly it was going, right, this is the setup, bam, 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 is when Rip goes and effectively collects each hero, and it's like, okay, here's this person, here's this person, here's these guys, and you just bang them all together. And I was like, okay, you've given me a very brief overview, and that's basically what I can expect from each character or pair of characters as it happens. But what is missing for me in that case is I haven't then got all these previous hours of getting to know them, that sort of thing. So
yeah, it's like jumping into the Avengers without watching Phase 1.
Which is pretty much what I did, actually, to be fair.
Yeah. So yeah, you've got Rip Hunter, who's basically Nick Fury, and then all of the, like, Ray Palmer is basically Iron Man.
Yes.
Iron Man meets Ant-Man. So
Yeah.
and it's just sort of so all of these characters, it makes sense to someone who's watched for
All the
at the
previous
time
shows.
like 3.5 seasons of Arrow and a season and a
Yeah.
half of The Flash. To then like so all these characters, I just sort of know them, and all the other like because they go to a future Star City, and there's like they just mention like they meet like an older Oliver Queen, and there's just
Oh
like
wow!
yeah,
I like the idea of that.
it's really cool. So they got like Stephen Amell's in like old person makeup, and like it's really cool. And it's just like
That's cool.
listing off all these people who've died that for you wouldn't know who any of those characters were and why you should care about them.
Yeah. But for you, they mean something. I think. But having said all that, like I don't think it's inaccessible because, to be fair, all I'd need to convince me to watch this show is like the 3-second elevator pitch. It's like, okay, so tell me about the show, and they say, superheroes meet Doctor Who. And I'm
That's
like, okay,
that's it, pretty
yeah,
much.
I'm
the whole story
completely
is
sold on it.
The whole thing is Rip's story, really.
yeah,
Like, 'cause-
yeah. That's so. I think we've discovered something here. So, if you're a newcomer to the thing, your emotional core, your narrative core, is pretty much Rip's story, but you're aware that there's this sort of web of characters that have come before you. Coming at it from your point of view, I imagine you're thinking you're just enjoying the whole ensemble, knowing what you know about the characters.
Yeah, I'm also enjoying like the development of Rip, and because obviously these shows have like the DC shows are heavily rooted in like their own personal backstories, more so with Arrow with all their like flashbacks and stuff. So Rip has his own flashbacks, which are flash forwards for these characters. It's time travel.
Yes. Yeah, that makes sense in my head.
But what's nice is that all of these sort of secondary background characters who crop up now and again, like Ray and Sarah were quite big parts of Team Arrow, but like Firestorm is a secondary character. Heatwave and Captain Cold are rogues, so they're villains that crop up now and again. Carter, Hawkman was in the crossovers, and that's when he turned up. And then Kendra was in like 4 or 5 episodes of The Flash. So they're some of them are more fleshed out than others, but this show is their platform to develop as characters, which is cool.
And I suppose when they then, well, presuming they then will come back to Arrow or Flash or whatever at some point, there's a bit more substance to them if you've gone and watched this and then gone back to watch it post Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah, I feel like then, because the thing, like, I'm, as much as I like to think that there's no like guarantee that all of these characters will survive this trip,
Yeah, that's true.
which means they could die in the future or in the past or somewhere in between, like in space. But what's
Or
quite
in the was it? I can't remember what they call it, but the temporal, not void, but it's like a limbo. It's basically the time tunnel that the TARDIS goes down.
yeah, like the time stream or whatever.
Yeah.
And like one of like the small things that if you've seen the first season of Flash is the computer on the ship is Gideon, who is also the Reverse Flash's like future tech computer thing.
Okay.
Which is just like so it's
See,
just like little things and stuff like that.
Yeah. But don't you find it's those little... Oops, I just dropped something. It's those little touches that really cement universes together.
Yeah, like the thing, like going into it, this is like it feels like it's just another part of the universe, and like if you, because you don't actively like the DC shows.
Well, this is going to be one of my points that I will come on to, is that it's convinced me that I need to give Arrow another go.
Because I think what it's doing is it's building up this expanded universe that DC have no interest in taking anywhere. And
What, on the movie side, do you mean?
yeah, because so they're going to have all of this, like all of these characters and stuff that they've built and that people are invested in that they like, and they're just going to ignore them. Which is
It
it's
does
weird.
strike me as odd. But then I suppose they don't have to, do they? With the nature of comics, you can have, streams of story that in one sort of line of stories makes complete sense, but then in another, those events may not have actually happened.
Well, yeah, the trouble is that the TV shows are having to not use characters that are going to be in the shows. Like, there's now no Deadshot, no Deathstroke. Who else have they just... And there was a bunch of other characters that they're just not using because they're doing the show. Like, they're doing the films, so they're trying not to use them in the TV shows. Which I feel is a shame, personally, because I prefer the DC TV stuff to the films.
Well, to be fair, we've only had one DC movie so far, haven't we? Man of Steel. But is Man of Steel connected to Supergirl, by the way? Because I was wondering if Supergirl would turn up in Legends of Tomorrow.
I don't know.
Because I think it's canonical with Man of Steel, which would then mean that it shouldn't turn up on the TV show. She shouldn't turn up in a TV show.
The trouble is,
or at least
the Flash is doing multiverse stuff, so I think Supergirl and Man of Steel are connected,
right?
And I think they're in a separate Earth to the TV universe. But there is a Supergirl Flash crossover happening soon, so
okay.
I feel like it's gonna be Barry's attempt to like get somewhere. But the trouble, like, it makes it a lot more complex than Marvel, because Marvel simply, they've got, like, this is our cinematic universe, this is where everything is. Although, like, it would be interesting to see Marvel do multiverse stuff, and maybe not so much time travel, because time travel's fun, but oh no, they've done time travel. And just
with
Days of Future Past, and just
not
retcon
in
like
the
their
cinematic
movies.
universe, though.
So,
which, to be fair, is a bold move, but then gives them free rein to do whatever they want to do, which is sort of fine by me.
what I'd find interesting is if stuff that happens in Legends of Tomorrow has effects and stuff, because there are characters that will show up in Legends of Tomorrow who are already in. Because it's weird. All the episodes seem to be paired, so they spend 2 episodes in each time period, which I quite like that. So, but in the second half of the pilot, which you haven't watched, but they meet the big bad from this season of Arrow.
Right, this is the other thing. I didn't know that the pilot was in 2 parts. I've just found out.
Yeah, but the thing, like, it's still like the next episode. All of the pilot stuff is in part 1, and part 2 is more like just episode 2.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I feel like a lot of this was sort of backdoor piloted, so it was just all of the setup was done in other shows, like how the Flash was booted from Arrow.
Yeah.
Because they introduced Barry Allen, and then that spun off. And then half of these characters are introduced in Arrow, and then this is spun off. So what would be cool is to see something spin off from this. So it'd be a spin off of a spin off of a spin off.
That's like 16 spin-offs.
Yeah, so this is... It's...
More... Sorry, go on.
I find it's quite nice... It's quite nice to collect all these characters in one place and then just, like, sort of pick them up and just put them somewhere else and sort of go, you're over here now, you're doing your stuff. And
Yeah.
like there's still a lot of room for all of these characters to develop. Less so with Sarah though. I feel like there is room for her to like develop as a character, but she's sort of there as like you know a lot about Sarah. So she's there to be that character. Whereas the other people are there to like find themselves.
Yeah. I really like the pairing of Firestorm. Like
It's a good dynamic, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just trying to. I can't quite remember.
Jefferson and Martin Stein.
Yeah, that is such a cool idea for a hero. It's like this young black chap and an old white dude. It's just
Interestingly,
Fucking
Jefferson
I don't-
isn't the first half of. He's the second of that half of Firestorm.
oh, okay.
It was a completely different person. They had a whole episode about it in The Flash. So Firestorm's not. Then the two parts aren't. They're not 100% unique. Like there are other people who can, if they need to, step in to take over one half
Yeah.
of that. But it's an interesting act because they're like telepathically linked and stuff. So
I liked them, but the guy who plays Jefferson, I really didn't like him. Like his performance, I thought he was just, I don't know. It just seemed a bit. I didn't really believe him, to be fair. And I thought a lot of his dialogue is quite cliche and exposition-y.
yeah, there's a later episode where they go back to like the 50s, and it's quite
So
it's quite an
Back to the
interesting.
Future.
Yeah, sort of.
Literally have
apart
them
from
doing
with
Back to
like
the Future.
more racism and
Okay,
bad
cool.
things. It's great.
I really, really, really liked the joke about Kronos. Like we've been chased by Boba Fett or something.
Yeah, they make a lot of reference to pop culture. There's Star Trek references and stuff as well. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, proton torpedoes. Or something. But yeah, I quite liked it. Again, what it's really done is it's just convinced me that I need to try and persist with Arrow on some level.
Yeah. So it's not. Yeah, it's not
As
even
much as
like
I can.
it's not you sort of going like, oh, I want to watch Arrow because like the show's cool. It sounds like it's just I want to know more about these characters.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, like it's quite nice to see the Prison Break brothers like in, because they were in The Flash together, which was cool. First time they'd been together since Prison Break, but now they're like properly doing a show together, and
Yeah,
they've got a pretty like interesting dynamic of like one of them's the one who just wants to literally at some point just goes, I want to watch the world burn.
because he can.
Yeah,
because he makes fire.
He's the one who Alfred was warning Batman about.
How prophetic. Nearly 10 years later. Jesus, Dark Knight came out nearly 10 years ago. In 2 years, it'll have been 10 years since Dark Knight came out.
Yeah. What's cool is that their personalities are entirely opposite of like Leonard's really like
Cool.
he overthinks things. Not overthinks, but he's meticulous in his planning. And Mick's just like, I like just let me hit
Fire.
stuff and burn things. But also their weapons are polar opposites. One freezes to absolute zero and one heats to absolute hot.
Absolute hot. Is that scientific?
Absolute hot, that's scientific. It's like it's the hottest on the Kelvin scale. So
Is it like the biggest hot you could ever see?
it's like the sun, but hotter. He could burn the sun.
Why doesn't he do something for the energy crisis?
Because he just wants to set the world on fire.
Well, if he sets the sun on fire, that's kind of the same thing. And then we all get a bit more energy.
But I think all of these other characters are just accessories to the struggles between Savage and the Hawks, because that's
It's the ongoing feud, is it? Because
they've been killed by
struggled-
Vandal Savage like 300 times.
Doesn't he say, he says something like 2,000?
Yeah,
Something-
it's
is
a
it
lot.
2,300? Anyway, it's a lot of times.
A
and
lot of times.
that I don't think was telegraphed particularly well, because it took me a few minutes of going, like, what? Oh, hang on. Right, okay, I understand now.
It's because
they're sort of...
It's another thing that's already been explained.
Yeah,
So I
okay.
feel like
should
this
watch Arrow.
show is really geared at people who are already set up in that universe, which is a shame, because like with maybe a little bit more backstory, like this could be people's way into that, rather than what it is sort of like yeah, you can watch this, you won't get it if you don't watch like 50 other hours of TV.
I don't think it's totally inaccessible if you haven't watched it, because I still did enjoy it. It's just, it's a much richer enjoyment if you do know it.
Yeah.
I'd say that's a fair...
But I like the sort of the reveal at the end that like they're being chased by Kronos, and like Rip's just like sort of wasn't 100% honest, but they didn't say this was okay. I'm sorry I lied to you.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. So he stole a spaceship and went travelling back in time.
With some companions that he chose from Earth.
Exactly. The parallels are unreal. But what I really like is that it gives Arthur Darvill a lot more... Like, he had a lot in Doctor Who as well, but like this is more drama than adventure. There's a lot of adventuring to do, but he gets a lot more like emotional
Quiet
scenes
moments.
and stuff, and in some places I think maybe better dialogue as well than he got in Doctor Who.
Yeah, I think he's given a bit more free rein to, rather than just being the chap who tags along and occasionally goes and flips a switch while everything's going to pot.
Yeah.
He's sort of the master of it all now.
Yeah, and also at some point Rip talks about he says there's a line along the lines of, I've seen Dark Knights rise and Men of Steel fall and stuff. So there are allusions to
Wait, whoa, who says that when?
Rip in like episode 4 maybe.
Oh, okay, so not that. I was going to say I missed that. Quite obvious.
It's in one of the trailers.
Klaxon blaring.
But
Is it really?
I thought it was Savage that says it, but it's actually Rip who says it.
See, that's
I'll find
interesting
the
because-
trailer for you at some point and be like, watch this.
Yeah, right. Something else it made me think is I really want a Batman TV show, and not Gotham, because Gotham's not got Batman in it. But like a really good, in the style of Arrow, but just with Batman. And playing Arkham Knight this week, that's really sort of rekindled my love for
feel like
Batman.
the trouble is they can't do it because DC don't want two Batmans.
It's
What would
weird
be
how
cool
they're
is if they
okay
could
having
do-
two Flashes.
They could do with like the family of. What if they did someone else from Batman? Like they could do Red Hood, or maybe not Red Hood because he's a bit. Because there's a comic where it pairs Arsenal and I think it might be Red Hood, and it pairs them off together and they go adventuring and stuff. It's pretty cool because they've already got an Arsenal in this universe. So
But I just want Batman.
yeah, what about Batgirl? we could maybe get you
no,
Batgirl.
to be fair, I'd take that, because at least then you've got the roster of villains that you could still tap into, and just like a Nightwing show or something.
Wait, they've mentioned Oracle as well.
Really?
Yeah, at some point they give Felicity a nickname in Arrow, and they give her the nickname Overwatch, and she's just like, it's not the best. And Oliver's just like, it was going to be Oracle, but that name's taken. So Batman clearly exists in this universe.
Somewhere. I wonder
But
if
they haven't mentioned Gotham or Batman. by
Okay.
name. But Wayne Tech's in this as well. It's in. Oh, there's a reference to it in the Flash.
How can they?
There are
well, maybe
there are so
because it's
many
DC,
Easter
they can
eggs and
have their-
stuff in these shows, talking about like
Perhaps they, it's less harmful to do that than and be like, hey, look, haha, Wayne Tech, but then do nothing with it, rather than reading them as seeds to be sown for a Batman show.
they go to like Coast City's a place that they've been. So and like Ferris Air is there, so Green Lantern references abound. But let's maybe hope they don't do that, because they've tried that before.
Do you know what? Green Lantern, actually, in the comics, the one Justice League comic I've read, I really like him.
I think I've been watching and following the story of like, is it God's Heads? Like the big lantern story, and it's really cool. It's really, really cool. I'd love to see lanterns and stuff, but I feel like these are almost too tied into like. So there's magic and mysticism and stuff, but it's not. Maybe they're not quite ready for cosmic powers.
Yeah, perhaps. So you're gonna presumably keep watching this, and have you been keeping up to date with it?
Yeah, I'm like so on the ball with watching this. It's so good.
Yeah, I'd imagine so, as much, because how much you like Arrow.
And how much I like Doctor Who.
Have we done Arrow on this show?
Not
we haven't
yet.
done Arrow.
It's on the list.
It's in there somewhere, is it?
Yeah, in the a long time in the future.
I don't think I'm going to watch this just yet. I think if I persist with Arrow, and if I do eventually get to the end of it, because now it's like, what, 80 something episodes, is it?
23 a season. Yeah, it's like 69 or something. Plus
That's a lot of,
what's in
that's
the
a
season.
lot of telly.
What I'll do is I'll work out like what you can. I'll find like the highlight episodes for you, and then you
No, I
can
think
catch
if
up.
I'm going to watch it, I'd really like to just watch the whole thing. So yeah, I think I'll kind of carry on watching this, in that I'm going to go back and watch one of the shows that fed it.
Yeah, that's cool. So on to
Agents
our
of S.H.I.E.L.D. then.
second sort of team up without
Our second
any
superhero
heroes.
team up.
Well, there's no real heroes in this pilot.
There's the hooded chap.
Oh yes, Mr. Peterson, probably.
Yeah. That's it. So this is after the events of Iron Man 3, which is set after the Avengers.
Yeah, so it's after the
obviously.
event.
So,
It's like maybe like a year after the Battle of New York.
yeah. And
Coulson's
Maria
not
Hill
dead.
is. Yeah, as far as I'm aware, they still haven't resolved that or explained what's going on.
No, they haven't.
So Coulson is putting together a team to investigate, or just react to, I guess, superhero activity. Is it?
Yeah, they're initially focusing on like hacktivists. There's a group called
Yeah.
the Rising
Tide. Yeah.
of whom Sky is a member. Sky, the most sort of like the thing, like it's sort of her story. Like the story is split pretty much between her and Coulson. And
I was always between her and Ward more than anyone else.
well, I think the whole premise of the show is like it's Coulson's team, but I didn't really care about Sky that much.
What, in the pilot or in the whole show?
Sort of in the whole show. She gets interesting in like season 3.
Okay, good. Well, the chances are I'm not going to watch 2 series to watch her get interesting in the third.
Yeah. Well, because once they finish with all like this stuff, they start setting up Inhumans, which is cool. Because Inhumans are cool.
As pilots go, I thought it's really well written. I mean, it's Joss Whedon writing it. You can feel that he's there the whole way through, because it's got his sort of sense of humour.
And it really
I mean,
feels Marvel
everything
as well, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Like, it's
completely.
so Marvel.
Everything that Joss Whedon has written so far has just been about a team of people.
Mm-hmm.
I feel, so if you look at like Buffy, Firefly, Angel, Avengers, everything is about groups of people, and I think he does that especially well.
Yeah, because it doesn't ever feel like any of the characters they all get quite sort of not equal screen time, but they're all important because they're a team, and that's how teams work.
Exactly.
But what my overall for Agents of Shield, my favourite thing is how it links in to
The Marvel's cinematic
the MCU.
universe.
It's incredible. I was going to talk to you about this anyway, but I was reading an article about unanswered questions in the MCU, and it was posted.
I'd say the biggest one is Coulson's death, surely.
Yeah,
Or
but
one of
this
them.
was loads of questions that they're unanswered, and then I was reading through the comments because it's always hilarious, and someone was just literally 9 out of your 10 questions were answered in Agents of Shield, and this guy came back just going, "Oh, but they should have been explained in the films. I shouldn't have
don't think
to
so.
watch a TV show to be filled in." And it's well,
That's madness.
but yeah, it's so you're saying that the TV show should explain to you all of the plot of Daredevil so you don't have to watch it? Because
or if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. should tell you everything that happened in Winter Soldier.
that they kind of do.
Oh really? Okay. Well, for example, again, I haven't watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I only watched the Marvel.
Well, because
movies,
obviously
so.
the big bit of Winter Soldier is Shield collapses and stops being a thing.
Yes.
So that leads to interesting bit before couple weeks of around every Marvel film they sort of have. The show has a couple of weeks of their normal story, and then a big tie-in. After Thor 2, they go to London, that sort of thing.
I remember because we were living together during the year that this show started, and that sort of thing happened. And I thought
I kept telling you about it.
It's a stroke of absolute genius. Is to be able to plan ahead your TV shows to coincide with your movies coming out and reactions before and after, whatever. I thought that was fucking magic.
Because
Such a good idea.
What this gives an insight into is through the films we get the big heroes and how they deal with these things, which is normally blow it up and someone else. But this is the normal people who are still involved in that world, but this is how it affects it's how it affects normal people.
Yeah.
Normal in that Fitz and Simmons are geniuses in their own right. Coulson's alive by
Resurrected.
magic, and so there's a lot of stuff that's really cool to see how sort of normal people and an intelligence agency would deal with these sort of things, which I thought was really cool. But one of the things I never understood, because obviously while we were living, I never understood why you didn't get into it.
I don't know. I think I don't really have a reason why I didn't. I just sort of didn't.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like a dig. It's just I thought this would be right up your street, because superheroes,
and
Marvel.
Watching this, I think it probably is. And had I started watching it then, I probably would have kept up with it, because I know in Daredevil, that sort of thing, they occasionally mention Hulk or Thor or something, but in this, it's constant
Coulson
and consistent all the way through.
Coulson knows them. He was.
Yeah.
His death was literally the reason they are now a team. Which I thought Coulson coming back might be. I initially thought it might have been one of probably many triggers for Civil War.
That's something I was going to ask you actually. Is I think Coulson will be coming back for Civil War in some manner. Do you think?
I'm not 100%
not?
sure. I don't think he'll see have any contact with any of the action. I suppose if Cap goes underground, Coulson is underground now, so
That's true.
that could be a thing that happens. But I feel like then, because then you'd have to acknowledge the rest of Coulson's team, and that would be possibly too many characters for Civil War. Although there's a lot already. But yeah. But anyway, the pilot was cool.
So the actual story of the pilot. I've actually lost my page that I was looking at. That's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Oh no, here we go. Yeah. So there's a. This is something that's what made me think of Civil War. Sorry to get back to this. Is someone mentions that the superhero Mike Peterson, who he saves a woman out of a burning building, but someone says, oh, he's unregistered. And I thought, well, hang on a minute. I thought the whole point of Civil War is that they're going to fight to not be registered or to be registered. So why are they registered?
The MCU Civil War is slightly different. It's just like do we need someone sort of like a supervisor, basically, is from what I understand about Civil War, that's what they're focusing on. But what SHIELD have been doing up until this point is tracking down and registering heroes and making sure, not heroes but super powered people, to make sure they're not a threat, like they did with the Hulk. They kept SHIELD kept an eye on him and made sure that he wasn't a threat, and then they brought him on board and were like, you're going to be our threat. So they're still sort of continuing to do that. So they have got a register of powered people that they know of.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's more so it's more following that arc of they've been doing it, but it's not a public thing.
Yeah. Okay. That makes more sense. So yeah. What's his name? Grant Ward, who's this. Well, he's quite a tough chap. Oh, another thing. You see Grant Ward on a mission, and during this he's in Paris and he steals. What is it? He's collecting something from. I can't remember now. Anyway, he kicks some ass and picks some stuff up. But he walks past a cafe in Paris, and I swear I've been in it. I really think I've been in that exact cafe, which was kind of cool. So yeah, he's being interviewed by Maria Hill to join the team. He joins the team, and that's when Coulson comes out and he does a big reveal where he walks in the darkness and he's like, I'm sorry, that corner is really dark. I think there's a bulb gone. I couldn't resist. Which I thought was quite a nice moment. So it's
still very Coulson as well, isn't it? Because he's always had those sort of little one-liners thrown in. So it's sort of, I feel like it was a way to sort of be like, he's back. He's not quite as dead as you thought.
Yeah, it sort of telegraphs it as, look, this is a significant moment. If you don't really know what's going on. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure
Ward's reaction was, aren't you dead?
That's it, yeah, that's it, because he says, I'm security level 6, so I know that he's dead, and he just steps out and goes, welcome to level 7. I'm like, and
he's following that, in Winter Soldier, because obviously Fury mentions that he, segments and, not everyone knows everything. And that becomes really clear through, the leveling system that S.H.I.E.L.D. has.
Yeah.
So, up to level 6, Coulson's dead. Level 7 and higher, he's not dead.
Coulson's not dead. That's good. I like that. I hadn't considered that before. So then...
yeah, so and you start meeting the team
meets up
as well.
With Pearson and warns him about S.H.I.E.L.D. And then she's captured.
Yeah, literally, I'm pretty... She's arrested almost instantly after. You should watch out for S.H.I.E.L.D. Turns around. Oh, you're S.H.I.E.L.D., aren't you? And Coulson has his flying car as well.
She's putting out a warning message from Rising Tide, because she's, she is the Rising Tide. While she's recording it, they open a van door and she's like, for fuck, here they are. So that was good. And then it's just sort of it's forming the team, isn't it? It's your sort of
Your sort of standard team formation, really, isn't it?
yeah. It's
You've got
dissimilar
you've
to
got
Legends of Tomorrow.
Ward, who's like sort of the clean cut, like he is a soldier for all intents and purposes. Sky,
Yes.
who's the sort of the outside one who isn't affiliated but will be, pretty much.
Yes.
You've got Fitz and Simmons, who are one character.
I like that when they were introduced as Fitzsimmons, and then they were like, "Who are you?" It was like Fitz Simmons, pointing to the other one. I was like, "Oh, that's quite cool." I really
Yeah.
like them. I think they're probably my favourite characters so far.
They're so like they're great characters. I adore them because they're just like they're so sweet and like quite innocent for the world that they're in.
Yeah, that's what I like. Is that they're sort of quite naive.
But also they're incredibly and integral to the team. Like there are
Oops.
like episodes and episodes where without them the team would all be dead.
Yeah. I don't particularly like. The other girl. I can't remember her name.
Oh, what, Agent May?
Yes, don't like her.
I don't know if you're meant to.
I think you're supposed to.
Yeah.
So in that case, that's word. But yeah, I mean, as a pilot, it was okay. I thought I wasn't completely blown away, even though I'm pre-sold on the whole Marvel thing completely. I wasn't entirely convinced by the show. I can't really put my finger on why.
I feel like they tried to in the show. There's a lot. The first episode especially has a lot of reference to the MCU films.
Which I think is purposely it's overloaded in the first one.
Yeah, because
to keep
like
people,
the other stuff, like other things
keep fans
come in.
watching.
Like literally,
Well,
Sif comes
Fury's in the second episode.
Yeah,
I remember watching that one. I watched that. That's the second episode, isn't it, where he turns up? And I think
yeah. He turns up in. He does turn up in a few.
Oh, okay.
He has like there's like a big sort of emotional scene in like the end of the season where Fury's just like he said along the lines of because they're explaining the whole like why he didn't die thing, and it's like some like process or whatever, and Coulson says to him, he's like, "Oh, but this whole project was if we lost an Avenger," and Coulson's just like, "You kind of are one of them." And it was just like a, "Aw, that's nice, but no," sort of moment. But obviously, like the references in episode 1 are Extremis is a big one,
Yeah.
and Chitauri, like the metal that holds the Extremis is Chitauri. And
Well, I think the first, or one of the opening shots, is a kid looking at action figures of the Avengers.
that's true. That's Peterson's son, isn't it?
Yeah, which is it's not quite. It's almost fourth wall breaking, as well as when Peterson says, "Oh, this is my origin story," and it's like, "Oh, okay, so you're aware that superheroes need origin stories," which I thought was a strange way of putting it, but because I didn't think the show was trying to break the fourth wall.
Yeah,
Particularly.
I think with like the action figures and stuff, that's something that I've started to notice is not a lot, but it does crop up in these superhero shows. Like in Flash and Arrow, they have Arrow and Flash action figures.
And like merch stuff, because to be fair, it would happen.
Yeah, it would be a big thing. I feel like
It would be a
that's
marketing
they could avoid it altogether and not put it in. But I feel like to make these worlds feel real, that
Yes.
it's a necessary thing because like the Captain America trading cards and stuff. Like as much
Yeah.
as that was a real thing that came out not in real life. Like,
Is that what you were struggling
I
to
was
say?
struggling to think of like, how do I say not in the cinematic universe, but in reality? But I feel like to not acknowledge that those things would have happened like the trading cards and the action figures and probably comic books. They haven't quite got to that level of self-awareness yet, but they will.
Yeah.
Like it's important for those universes to have those things, because otherwise it wouldn't be a believable world. But
Well, equally, I'm fine with it being a completely unbelievable world. I'm still enjoying, the fantasy of superheroes and that sort of thing. So, but I totally agree with you. It does sort of cement it into into a real sort of believable thing.
yeah, interestingly, when Age of Ultron came out, for so long I was waiting for like that tie-in of like, and it was just, I was like, what is it going to be? They're not doing anything that could be related to Age of Ultron. And then at the end of one episode, Coulson calls up Maria Hill and just goes, I found it. And that's the end. And it's just like, and that directly leads into like, it's his team who located Loki's scepter. And just all he did was just called Maria Hill, just went, I found it, this is where it is. Because in the background, I'm pretty sure you can see like a map that's showing like Sokovia and stuff.
Oh, right, okay.
But so the tie-ins aren't always like super just like, this is what's happened. Some of them are more subtle than Sif coming through. Not subtle. When you get like Asgardians turning up, you're just like, that's not entirely subtle. But there is like there's a whole other Asgardian story of like an Asgardian who just lives on Earth now, and that's also pretty cool.
What, one that we've met before, or it's just completely...
No, an entirely new one.
Okay.
Who like is just someone lower down in the hierarchy of Asgardians, and it's just like he liked Earth, so he stayed and chilled.
Yeah. So, is it still running now?
Yeah, there was an episode this week that I'm yet to watch, but...
Oh, but you are keeping up to date with it?
Oh, yeah. Because what's cool is Agent Carter airs in the, like, off time. So Agent Carter normally airs in January. So the Christmas break for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is slightly longer, but you do get Agent Carter in between. And there are some, like, there's even, I think there's an episode that alludes to, like, there's a flashback with Peggy in it, because she found this weapon, and then modern S.H.I.E.L.D. needs it. So they're looking through, like, SSR files and a crate that they flash back and show Peggy using. And I think one of the Howling Commando's, like, grandchildren's in it as well. Like, little things, but I love those little... It's why I like both of these shows.
Connecting them together.
Because I love, like, the web that they can weave in, like, either the TV shows or, in this case, the cinematic universe as a whole. I love those little, like, sort of joining the dots and, like... What my favourite thing about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is to watch it in sort of the correct order, in its proper chronological order. Like, it actually takes some, like, working out of which episodes happen between films. So it's something like...
Brilliant. While it's broadcasting, and while it's being aired, that's fairly easy to get hold of.
Yeah, and then if you were to look back at it, there's... I'm trying to think. There's one... So obviously, I'm pretty sure there's at some point you watch, like, I think it's like 1 to 9, then you watch a film, and then you watch some more episodes, and then you watch a film, and then you watch, like, the finale of the season, start of the next season, then a few more episodes and a film. And it would work. I mean, I wouldn't include it in a marathon, because, Jesus Christ, that would take literal days. But yeah, so I quite like the way that it does that,
A long
and obviously
time to get
no
all
marathons
Marvel
because
content that's come out.
days and days. Because there's even when there was before the Netflix shows, and with just Agents of Shield and the main MCU, the marathon would have taken 38 hours at that point when I worked it out.
Soon to come 26.
And now you've got what,
This
13
week,
episodes
isn't
of Daredevil,
Oh,
13.
Right, I know what I'm doing my Friday night now. I'm gonna watch
Exactly,
all of
literally
Daredevil.
tomorrow. I'm pretty sure it's tomorrow.
Of course, this is going to come out many months after.
Yeah, I'm
it's
pretty
been out,
sure.
isn't it? So,
One day, 12 hours.
kind of late to the. Oh, so we could say. Do you
Yep.
remember in Civil War when that thing happened where they had a fight? Wasn't that brilliant? Didn't we enjoy it? Didn't we laugh? Didn't we cry? I can't believe that insert character name died.
I know, it was incredible. It was so weird.
You know what,
I didn't.
I thought it was
Of all the people to
diverted
kill, I didn't
to
expect
the
them to kill
MCU.
Coulson again.
I think they're gonna kill Widow. I think a character that would have the most emotional resonance on both sides would be Widow. Oh yeah, just solve it. If Sony just went, yeah, we only said you could have him for
What
one
if they
film.
just kill Spider-Man? Like it's literally that scene, the scene that's in the trailer, and then just someone kills him.
Yeah, 'cause
I think that
Widow
would be
is on
quite
the
cool,
Stark
but
side.
at the same time, I don't think.
So
they would do that.
Hawkeye, I think it's going to be interesting having Hawkeye and Widow fighting against each other. That would be very strange. That's really cool.
And Scarlet Witch versus the Vision. Interestingly, I hadn't put this together until I just like scrolled down this page. But you know how we
Yeah.
have always tried to figure out how they're gonna link in Guardians. Guardians is already linked in. Because in Agents of Shield, the Kree are a thing. Like they have a Kree somewhere. And all the Inhuman stuff is Kree based. So it's linked. We have a somewhat tenuous and no
I'm
crossover
convinced
characters,
Guardians are
but
gonna finally meet
the link's
up
a thing.
in Thor Ragnarok.
So-
if they are essentially doing Planet Hulk like it's been rumored, then I really think that's where it'll be. Yeah, or it will just be one of them.
I think
like,
there'll be post credits at
Thor has to
most
fight Groot or
if they turn up.
or Rocket or something, or just Drax.
Groot
Not Star Lord. I can't see Star Lord doing very well in a Gladiator.
or Gamora.
Yeah, exactly. I could see Rocket taking him on, but
Against the Hulk.
so Agents of Shield.
I can't see
again,
anyone winning though. I think that's the
I
point.
don't know if I'm gonna carry on watching it. Like, I know it's all connected to the MCU and stuff, but
The thing, like, you don't need to watch it to keep up with what's going on in the MCU. It's a completely separate thing that answers some questions that aren't hugely important, I guess. Like, it just answers it answers some questions. Like, it answers
alright,
where's
'cause I
Abomination.
was wondering.
They literally
watching
just outright say he's
the
in a
Hulk
prison in
movie at the
Antarctica.
weekend, it just happened to be on.
That's where
must have saw that.
Abomination is.
So if General Ross is coming back, where the fuck's Tim Roth gone? And Liv Tyler.
A prison in Antarctica. It was literally the first question on that article I talked about earlier. Oh, no one gives a shit.
Yeah, I kind of thought that was weird.
He's
It almost feels like
Hulk's
that
moved
Hulk
on.
movie isn't part of the MCU, doesn't it?
no. I feel like the post-credit scene is just a massive like afterthought of just like, oh,
In that one, yeah.
Iron Man did quite well.
But just the
Like, let's
post credit.
Bring this in proper.
Just where Stark goes, oh, we're putting the team together. Beyond that, it's about it. that's important.
Yeah, I mean, he mentions, like, Hulk mentions the last time he was in New York. It's like, last time I was in New York, I kind of broke Brooklyn. It's like, it's there, but they try not to acknowledge it because that movie was kind of
but
trash.
obviously, you're going to be keeping up with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because you're currently watching it.
Yep. It's,
But I suppose if
I mean, it's not, like, the best show I've ever seen. But what, my favourite thing about it is it keeps me watching stuff in the MCU in between the
Does it make that
films
way-
and in between
well, this
like even the Netflix shows and stuff as well,
for me if it's coming out
because
tomorrow.
they lasted
I'm
about a
not doing
day
it
for
Friday
me.
evening, so does it make it harder or easier having something in between the films? Okay.
I feel like it makes it slightly easier, and it helps me to sort of subdue the hype, because I feel like at some point soon they're gonna start dropping in things that are gonna happen, not gonna happen, but like stuff like the Sokovia Accords and sort of talking about that sort of thing. Because I think Coulson's just somehow got a promotion in an agency that doesn't exist.
Go on.
But you know, whatever.
That makes
But I think so. In the later seasons, Coulson is rebuilding
sense.
Shield.
Do you want another tough question? No. Which do you prefer?
Don't ask me to pick between them.
Legends of Tomorrow or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
I think I'd have to go Legends of Tomorrow. I think it's got a more interesting premise and it's quite cool. This is like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a good bridge between the films, and it answers some questions that
Yeah.
aren't really super worth answering, which is why they do it in the TV show, not in the films. But it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable, and Fitz and Simmons are still alive and in it, so I like that. Well, they will be. But
Oh,
something that I
okay.
know, I was watching a playthrough of Until Dawn. One of the characters,
Oh,
I know
really?
it sounds completely unrelated, but one of the characters in that is Ward. In face and voice. Because I recognised the character before I recognised the voice. And I was like,
looking
oh,
back, but I mean, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's Ward from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But yeah, little things like that are great.
Either of them really. No, but
And I think you've said
I
you're
am
not
gonna
really planning on
try
watching.
and go back to Arrow.
Well, you're not watching Legends of Tomorrow
I
yet.
haven't played Arkham Knight. I'm getting, quite back into. I'm getting into DC at the minute. Like I've read one of the Justice League things. I'm probably going to buy another Justice League comic. And I'm massively getting back into Batman. So I know that it shares characters.
Yeah, I think like the TV shows are solid.
I am watching 24.
Like, I
still
think
at
the
the
DC
moment,
TV
with
shows
very
are
nearly
solid,
finished series one,
apart
so
from Gotham, which can
you know,
fuck off.
It's got to hold my attention as much as 24 has. But yeah, I'll hopefully.
Man, these shows are
We've only got 2
screwed.
episodes of 24
I-
left.
We might as well just not watch anything
Yeah.
else on this list.
Loving it. It's so good. But yeah, so
Yeah, hopefully at some point we're going to find something that is good
Everything
enough
we've
that I
done.
want to watch it and haven't already watched up to date.
okay. Well, the next episode. what
Because
we're
everything
gonna
so
do is we're
far
gonna
that we've
do
talked about
two
that I
shows
liked,
I've seen all the way through,
I've already seen.
and ones that you haven't seen at all or very little of.
According to the episode planning spreadsheet that
The
we've
next
made,
show.
next week is Entourage Well,
Okay.
not next week. In next episode
To be
is
fair-
Entourage and
just
Empire.
a bit of admin. I
Which
don't
I've
think
seen
I've got
neither
the
of.
same document as you in that, but we can sort that out. That's fine. Okay, so that'll do it for this edition, the 9th edition
Yeah.
of the Co-Pilots podcast. I feel like we're actually getting into our stride now. I really like doing it. So yeah, and
It's a really good excuse to watch new TV shows. By new, I mean new to us, not. Well, actually, saying that, looking at the list. I think we started out with shows that we knew, so that
yeah, I'm looking at this.
we could work out
and
how it
there's quite a lot
goes.
of
And
stuff
now
that
it
I
looks like there's a
watched.
lot of stuff that I haven't seen.
So yeah, that'd be cool. We'll do Entourage and Empire next episode, and that'll do us. So until next time, stay co-pilot. We need an outro thing.
Yes.
I don't know what stay co-pilot means. Stay co-pilot is like saying, let someone else do the driving. You just
Yeah,
sit
it's
back and
definitely
chill.
not
And
that.
If they ask you where you are, you just look at the map and go, "Yep, we're in Russia," and then that's it. Dun, 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 dun,
What we need is like a voiceover person
Like-
to just go, next time on the Co-Pilots
Underneath that,
podcast.
we'll have us. But then underneath that, it'll just be like us going, "I didn't like."
But I
it."
really want
Dun,
like a shitty low budget one.
We should probably. Okay, so layouts, potatoes.
Which show is he talking about?
Goodbye.
Goodbye.